Community. Welcome to Food Fight Friday at the aid station. Yes, we are coming to you a little bit later than we normally do, but what do you care? You're going to listen to this on a run or on the trainer bike in about a week or two from now anyway, so you'll be laughing regardless. If you don't know what this show is about and you're showing up for the first time, my name is Jason Bahamundi. I'm the founder of Run Try Bike, and I'm joined by Adam Lee, the founder of Community Trail Running. And what we do is we present three food options to each other. One time Adam presents to me, and the other time I present to Adam on our second show. And I have to choose, or he has to choose, which food to eat, which food to carry, and which food to toss, similar to the fuck, marry, kill game that I'm sure you've all heard of before. This is our first show in September. And so Adam has the luxury of presenting me three foods while I sweat through this decision making process. But then next week, I get to turn the tables on him and present him with three food choices. We started with the most disgusting things you could possibly think of during our first show, which was like a bowl of baked beans and a bowl of sauerkraut. And we've evolved over time to the point where we are now like making it difficult as to what to eat, toss, and carry. So prior to jumping on live, I asked Adam if he was ready. He said he's got something that fits perfectly for our brand. So I'm going to turn it over to him and cross my fingers and toes that I either don't throw up thinking about the food he presents or die in hysterics live on our Food Fight Friday at the aid station. Take it away, Adam.
Happy Friday, Jason.
Happy Friday to you, my brother.
I am super excited for today, and you are not going to worry about being grossed out today because I'm feeding right into your plant-based diet. That part is
Fantastic.
going to be easy. However, we have mentioned this to various people in our own conversations and to each other that if we had known each other when we were 10 years old, we would have been in trouble because that's the sense of humor we have together. So, I have planned today's choices based solely on the emojis that you will need to use, and I'm giggling about them already. Planning the harvest season, I figured, so you're going to roll into an aid station. It's totally plant based, it's ready for you. The first choice you have is cherry pie,
Ooh,
right? The second
yeah.
choice you have is just raw peaches.
Oh,
And the third choice you have is grilled eggplant.
oh my. So this falls under the most difficult choices.
They're good
Um,
choices. They're
yeah.
very good choices. And I get to wait for you to post the emojis and giggle away.
Straight to detention because you'll be laughing while scrolling your phone. Real before I make the choices, here's a story of the kind of trouble I did get into while I was in high school. My buddy Pete and I made friends with our guidance counselor. Her name was Barbara Pedri. So back, you called your teachers Mrs. Pedri or Ms. Pedri. I don't think she was married. Anyway, so the phone rings in the classroom and that teacher says, "Hey, Pete, you got to go down to the office, the administration office." So I'm like, "Pete, who are you going to go see? Like, this is in front of 30 kids in front of the teacher as if nobody else is around." And he looks at me and he goes, "Babs wants me in her office." I'm like, "Oh, Babs wants you? That's cool. It's cool that you're going to go see Babs." Like, you're just supposed to call her Ms. Pedri, and we're calling Barbara Pedri Babs. Immediate detention. The teacher was like, "You don't talk about your adults that way." Yada, yada, yada. So, literally exactly the kind of trouble we would get into.
Yeah,
By
I
the way,
assume we wouldn't be allowed to have desks beside each other.
no chance, dude.
No.
No chance. But the beauty of with your last name being Lee and mine being Bahamundi, I was always the first seat. And so Lee would probably be the first seat in like the third row. So we'd have to talk over the kid in between us.
Oh, that poor kid would be in therapy. It's just good that, yeah.
He would, and he or she would be the one of those kids that wants to pay attention, be like, "Shh, I'm trying to study the
Exactly.
anatomy of whatever." And I'm like, "Man, don't worry about it. We'll get through
I
it all."
I met Sheena in college, and she hated me in class. She called me one of the noisy boys because I would sit there and just gab on to everyone, no focus, and she's trying to focus. Yeah, so yeah, no good.
The absolute worst, dude. One of the worst students ever. It's like you kind of like, look, who needs this shit, right? Like, and then before you know it, you graduate and you're like, oh, I probably could have used some of those lessons.
Maybe I should have paid attention a little bit.
All right, so back to the options. So I've been thinking about this during my filibustering session right there.
Well done.
For all you poli sci majors, um, I think the first thing I'm going to throw away is the peach. And the reason why I'm throwing away the peach is like I find like oftentimes it gives me like raw mouth. And so if I have
Ah,
to eat this thing while I'm running or if I'm at the next aid station, I don't want to deal with that raw mouth issue. And I can tell you a story about Coca Donut and raw mouth. Um, then so I'm tossing the peach. I think I'm gonna eat the eggplant right away. I mean, I love grilled eggplant, man. Like I know a lot of people don't like baba ganoush, but I love baba ganoush, which is basically grilled eggplant that becomes hummus in a sense, right? And so I'm gonna eat the grilled eggplant so that I have the dessert as like the motivation to get to the next aid station where I will then have a fork to scoop all of that good cherry pie in. So those are my rankings. Goodbye, peach. Hello, eggplant, and I will see you at the next aid station, cherry pie.
well done. Well done. I can't fault your decision making there at all. Mine's going to be a little bit different though, only because I don't like grilled eggplant all that much. So,
Ah,
yes, I like the idea of being able to carry the peach because that sounds easy. And then, like you said, if I need to throw it at something, you know what I mean? Like, you got me in defense mode all the time now. So I could do that. And I'm eating the fucking cherry pie because that sounds amazing right there at the aid station. Like, hook me up.
all the filling all over your face.
Oh yeah, totally. Right, like cherry snot, like, dirt. It's perfect.
What's the animal that you would see on the trail that you would have to throw the peach at? Like it can't be a snake because you could run around a snake, right?
Yeah, or just turn around, that's fine, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think anything that surprised so, I helped a friend out, Sabrina, on her, like, homemade 50-miler a couple weekends ago, and we ran into these elk. And
Ooh.
we were in this art walk too, right? So there was like art sculptures of animals and stuff. So this elk was sitting so still. We're like, is it part of the thing? I think it's part of the thing, right? And then it fucking moves and it starts following us. And we're like, oh shit. Like it's I would have thrown if I had a peach, I might have thrown it then. So I need to be a little bit calmer in those situations. I think maybe I shouldn't be carrying weapons now that we're talking this through.
Are you as afraid of snakes as I am? Like I am like panic stricken when it comes to snakes.
I don't yeah, I'm not a big fan of those for sure. My dad never helped with that growing up. That man was terrified of snakes. Like like he could like barely like jump over like the fucking step to step upstairs, but like if he saw a snake, he could jump from one floor to the next. You know what I mean? Like
Next thing he's starring in the NBA. He could
yeah,
dunk.
exactly. That guy could dunk for sure. You just put snakes on the court and he'd be jumping over dudes. Like
Like a couple of weeks ago, I ran on a trail and I came across this snake, and I let out a shriek because I'm in my own mind. I'm tooling along. I'm running. I'm not expecting this fucking nope rope, and it's like just sitting there and basking in the sun. I was like, you know, and I'm frozen because I'm like, which way do I go? Right? Do I go right or left? And fortunately enough, there was a path to the left of it that had already been cleared out. So maybe he's been there for years and people have just gone around him, you know.
right? Like yeah, avoid at all costs
I
for
like
sure.
I think I'd probably be more composed if I saw like a bear or an elk for that matter than I am with like snakes freak me out, man.
Because they're like the bear, the elk is like there's a presence to it, and like I don't know, it seems easier to deal with than the snake is all slithery and on the
Yeah.
ground, and you're not expecting that shit. And yeah, no,
No interest in snakes, dude. None whatsoever. Really quick before we shut out for the weekend and head on our particular paths and trails. So here's what happened at Cocodona with raw mouth. So I was using gels and I was getting these cold sores in my mouth from all of that sugar, that just constant sugar. And so for like 2 or 3 days, all I ate was at aid stations and in between aid stations, I should say, was I'd had them take instant oatmeal and put it in a Ziploc bag with water and just basically create oatmeal mush. And then I would unpeel the thing, squeeze it in my mouth. And so I would get that long lasting carb hit from the oatmeal with apple cinnamon flavor, which you can't go wrong with. And it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I used to think to myself, I should start a business that does this stuff, you know? But
Well,
go
I
ahead.
was I was going to say that ties in. I wanted to share a high school story really quick with me and a friend getting into trouble as well, and it ties into your starting a business thing. So we took entrepreneur class together. Our teacher hated us because we would not take it seriously. We would just shoot the shit all year in the back. No surprise there. The year-end project, you have to run a business in the cafeteria for a lunch hour, and see what you can do, right? So we had like just the day before, it was like the pop machine in the cafeteria charged $1. So we went. My grandma gave me a bunch of pop because she didn't. The teacher didn't tell us like you had to run this properly, right? So I was like, I got all our pop donated. We went and bought a bunch of candy and we just sold a cup of candy with a cup of pop or like the pop can or whatever for the same price. We sat in front of the pop machine and we just blared Ghostbusters for an hour. We made so much money. And my teacher was so mad. She's like, that's not how business works. Like, you told us to make money over lunch and we made money over lunch. Like, what do you want me to do? Like,
That's it. We found a need and we filled it. I ran a gambling ring in high school, dude. One of the one student complained to the teacher. It was like, Jason, the NCAA March Madness tournament in the U.S. is huge, and one student complained, Jason's running a March Madness pool, blah blah blah, and the teacher's like, just you wait, I'm gonna call your mother and everything else. And I said, well, when you're on the phone with her, can you ask her to photocopy more sheets because I've run out. I was selling them $5 a pop. I was taking like 20% vig off the top for doing all the work. The students loved it. It was awesome. Like I said,
uh,
dude, fill the need.
that's right. That's right. Which we've done this week. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jason.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you next week when I'll have 3 food choices for you. Audience, thank you so much for listening. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review to it. And be sure to check out Community Trail Running. Adam puts out at least one show a week, and they are fantastic. And they're 15 to 20 minutes. They're perfect for you on a run. So check him out, communitytrailrunning.com. Adam, have a great one, brother. I'll see you.
Thanks, Jason.